In today's show, Regina prepares an old-fashioned rice pudding with a creative twist. Guest chef Jeffrey Beeson prepares an exquisite lemon thyme pasta with grilled marinated vegetables. A down-home flair is added with savory chili cheese grits. The libation for the day is a milkshake complete with coffee and espresso beans.
We have a really fun and interesting show coming up today. Our special guest, Jeffrey Beeson, with Different Point of View Restaurant in Phoenix, joins us today, and he is an expert in an area that you would not normally associate with the Southwest. You normally think of Oregon, Washington when you think of mushrooms, but not only is Jeffrey just a top-notch chef, also he is an expert in the area of wild mushrooms and hunts his own. You say there are more than 20 varieties in Arizona here?
There's about 23 varieties of edibles, and a lot of times what people think edibles are means that you can eat them, whether they taste great or not. I find that there's about 8 that I really enjoy that are here. And it's really surprising because there's one mushroom here that's called a Caesar's amanitas, that it's Caesar's favorite mushroom, that it only grows in 2 places in the United States, Arizona and New Mexico.
And I had no idea, and we're going to be looking at a couple. In fact, this particular variety of mushroom, let's bring these over here before we put them on the grill. First of all, we're going to be making an exotic grilled vegetable over a lemon thyme linguine that we're going to be making from scratch. Just absolutely beautiful pasta. But this has all been in a marinade. I just wanted to point out this particular mushroom. You want to give us a little tour of the mushrooms on this plate first?
On this one, we just have 3. These are golden chanterelles. These are from the Pacific Northwest. And these are called chicken of the woods. A lot of people, they have a great texture. Texture is almost a little bit firm. Some people think it has a little bit of a chicken flavor. I don't think it does, and then we have morels.
And you say there are some blonde morels that grow just a few minutes from the house here.
Not far from your house. It's one of my favorite spots, actually.
I've got to try that. You have to tell me when they come in season and give me a map, a good map. This is very intriguing. I just wanted you to see this. So tell us how this dish is going to progress here.
Right here we have sherry vinegar.
Okay, start a little sherry. And this is how you do it? You would just kind of drizzle it over the vegetables?
Drizzle it over the top. You want to marinate it at least 3 or 4 hours. You don't really want to do it overnight, but even 6-8 hours would be nice.
Sherry vinegar is the best, or can you go with
red wine vinegar? Sherry is nice, especially when you get a nice aged sherry vinegar.
And then,
you taste a lot of wood with it.
Wish
truffle
you could
oil.
Smell this. It's a really nice. It's a mild truffle oil. Some of them are a little overwhelming. This is beautiful. Beautiful. And what else do you need?
And we're going to put some chopped herbs.
Okay.
And this is a little bit of thyme that we're going to make some pasta with later, but there's basil, there's parsley, cilantro, anything that you really have. And we're going to put a little bit of cracked pepper on there too.
Where do we,
here we go.
And then this all goes on the grill. And
then we're going to throw it on the grill.
Okay. Grill's all fired up and ready to go. I'm anxious to see what those chicken wood?
Chicken of the woods.
Chicken of the wood. Chicken of the woods mushrooms taste like. Almost look like little baby beets.
Yeah, they're unique. I like the round ones.
Yeah, these are nice. Are these roasted peppers or just?
Yeah, I actually peeled these. You don't have to peel them.
Okay. Oh, that is beautiful. And now the last of the vegetables are coming off, and they're going to sit here and sweat a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about what happens once these sweat down?
Once they sweat down, you're going to get the flavor from the marinade and all the vegetables, and that's actually going to be the sauce. And it's just going to be wonderful.
Can't get any fresher and lighter than that.
This is a little bit of the marinade right here that we're going to reserve as well. And we're going to serve it with this lemon thyme pasta. I picked some lemon thyme, which you can smell right here from my garden this morning.
Fresh.
And we're going to make that actually in a food processor.
And you say this is a no-fail pasta, right?
You cannot ruin this.
Okay. In a food processor, it doesn't get easier than that. Here we go. Let me get this out of the way. So we've got some stability there.
Okay, to make the pasta, you can use all-purpose flour or semolina. We're going to add just a little bit of it into the processor right now.
And I assume you're going to want some eggs
And
here.
we're going to crack a couple eggs. I'm going to take this just so I have some place to put the shell when I'm done. Go.
Now what? Little salt. Do you need any salt or?
We can put a little bit of salt. And we have the lemon thyme leaves that we just roughly chopped.
Okay.
And we're going to put in some lemon zest.
This This is a lovely pasta. That's nice subtle scent to it. You can't pick up the herbs. It smells good. You can see, look at the juice, the lemon oil essence squirting into the air. This smells good.
Okay. Then we're going to put some lemon juice in there as well.
And so you're not measuring this. How are we going to tell if we have enough?
Because once we start to blend this,
Okay.
really that's the texture is going to answer that question. And I'll show you that right now. Put the top on that. And we'll get this thing going.
So far it's looking pretty easy.
And we're going to add a little bit of oil.
Oh, the truffle oil. Oh, this will be
bit of oil.
magnificent. And so in a
You
minute,
see, it's pretty close. See, it's starting. See, it almost looks like spetzel,
right.
and it's starting to ball up just a little bit. That's
Right.
almost perfect. Once you get it to where
Pulling
it's a
away
little
from
bit
the center.
pulling away and it's lumping up a little bit, I'm going to add just a little bit more. But I got lucky on that first guess because I'm guessing that that's going to be pretty close to being
good.
perfect.
Oh, you can smell the truffle oil in it as well.
But see how it almost looks like couscous? Mm-hmm. Once you get it to where it almost looks like couscous, and you grab the pasta, you're going to want to work this for about 8 to 10 minutes
It's
in
nice
your
and
hand.
elastic. Good. Perfect.
And you can see it's perfect pasta in it. As you see,
got
it was
lucky.
I got lucky on the first guess. But what you want to do is you want to put less flour in
Okay.
and more moisture, and then slowly add the flour in so you don't
Right.
have to.
And the elasticity is what's really important. It holds together right away. You can see while you're working this, it's very elastic. Still soft and malleable. And then you
smells
can
great.
you can use an attachment if you have a pasta attachment, you can do that, or you can roll it out by hand. Whatever you have available to you.
And we actually rolled some of it out to this
Look at
point,
the color of
just with your old basic hand crank.
Like in Mama Maria's kitchen.
That's right. Okay. And let's see, it's pretty close to being
Yeah, it looks like it's just got the right
right
texture,
width.
doesn't it?
So,
Got the linguine attachment
here it
on.
goes.
There we go. Beautiful. Now this, because it is fresh, cooks up in less than a minute.
About 30 seconds, and this is what it looks like. And of course, you could dry this if you wanted to. And then,
You know, that's a really nice thing, is if you have time during the holiday season, is to even make up some nice bags of fresh pasta and let it dry for your friends.
Right, people
Wouldn't it be a
love that.
Yeah, it's something that usually people don't take the time to do, and it's such a wonderful gift.
and if you want to cook some ahead of time too, if you're entertaining, you don't want a big mess in your house, what you want to do is just cook it in some boiling salted water, and then just let it cool to about this point right here, and then we're ready to go.
Okay, so now we're going to chop up the vegetables a little bit, and you're going to saute them?
Right, and some of these you don't have to cut up.
Okay.
You know, like some of the squashes, I don't think we need to worry about
Yeah,
that.
little baby.
Like the butternut squash, we can just cut it into little batanettes or little large julienne. The leeks, we can probably just cut these in half lengthwise. And same with the carrots.
Those are nice. Those are lovely little carrots.
Great little baby carrots. The poblano chilies. You always want to taste the chilies before you serve them, because depending on the soil and how the chilies were watered is how hot it's going to be.
Right.
So you always want to
Very
taste
good
those.
tip.
Then the morels, we're just going to cut these in half. These look great just like they are. Radicchio, just rough cut these two.
It's very rustic looking
Very
presentation.
rustic. And there's the chicken of the woods mushroom, which we're going to put a lot of this in here because this is great.
I'm anxious to taste that one.
And then we have the pearl onions.
Okay.
Now we're just going to add some more of our truffle oil to the pan.
There you go.
Thank you.
And that makes this dish. The truffle oil just
It really does.
really
It
lot
really
of
does.
infusion of flavor there. Okay, so from here we're going to saute these for just, I would have guessed
Just
a
to warm
minute
them
or
up.
so.
They've already been grilled. With a nice sizzle. You can see the great color to this dish.
Just beautiful. Shall I put this away because we're going to be putting
Sure.
this somewhere else? Okay.
I think we're okay on sodium and pepper here. I'm just going to let it warm up just for a second. Okay, and we have our reserve marinade. This is the marinade and the natural juices from the vegetables.
This is one of
Smelling
the
wonderful.
prettiest pasta dishes I've ever seen.
Bring that up to a slight boil, then we have our pasta that's already cooked.
I like the ratio, so you have a lot of vegetables and just a little bit of the
A little
pasta
bit
in
of
there.
pasta.
Yeah.
Pasta's got the great texture and flavor, but we want to eat lots of great vegetables.
Ooh, this is lovely. And we have a nice pasta bowl for you
Nice
there.
pasta bowl, and we're not going to do anything fancy. We're just going to...
Don't need to do
We're
anything
going to let the
fancy.
vegetables and all our prep work do the talking for us.
And we're garnishing it with what here?
We have some manchego cheese. You could use any kind
nice
of
Spanish.
shaved dry jack cheese or Parmesan cheese. And we have some crusty bread, just some French bread that we've brushed with
that.
olive oil and just grilled. And then you could garnish it with any kind of fresh herbs. This is some of the lemon thyme. This is another from the different point of view garden. This is called marigold mint or Texas tarragon.
Oh, what is a completely different scent that has?
Oh, it's just
it's really
wonderful.
lovely, very
Just garnish it with a little bit of herbs.
fresh, light.
And we have some buffalo leaf basil that you could put in there too. And
A
it's that
veritable
simple.
garden. That's absolutely lovely. Okay, what do we have coming up next?
Next we're going to do some green chili cheese grits.
Good. Okay, down-home cooking. In fact, after that, we have some more down-home cooking because I'm going to finish up the show with a wonderful rice pudding that has a little Cointreau and some red flame raisins in it. Really,
Ooh, that sounds
it's
good.
going to be good. Okay, let's get ready for number 2. And here are the chilies for our green chili cheese grits. And tell us a little bit. You actually found these in New Mexico, right at the heart of Hatch chili season.
Right when the season was going great, I was hunting wild mushrooms near Alpine, Arizona, and found these. And there was a little farmer that was grilling these, and they're a little bit spicy. I'm probably going to use these poblanos for us to try here. But at
These are
home,
a
I
little
would
too hot?
I definitely use those at my house. But this is a great, simple recipe, and I think everybody's going to really like it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add some oil to the pan. And since we're being spoiled today, we're going to go ahead and use the truffle oil.
Good to me.
We're going to add onions. And we're not going to be shy with garlic.
Got some wooden spoons over there if you need them. Do you
Okay.
have something?
This
There you
one is
go.
great right here.
Okay.
And we're just going to sweat this a little bit. And we're going to add our chilies.
So you're not shy on chilies in this particular dish.
Not at all. This is the base of this dish.
And at least we see where the green comes from.
All right, we'll put this back here so everybody can look at those. Those are great. We're going to season everything just a little bit. You have some sea salt right here. And some cracked pepper.
And we're using a green pepper sauce.
Yeah, we have a green pepper. It's like a green chili Tabasco.
Okay.
It's not near as hot as regular Tabasco. Next, we're going to add our grits. These are yellow grits. In my opinion, you should always use the coarse grits because the texture is just so much better on these.
Okay. This is a little different treatment than I've seen with grits before. Normally it becomes porridge so quickly.
Yeah, I like to toast it a little bit. It almost makes the grains get a little bit more of a nutty flavor to it.
And then we have some pepper jack cheese that's going to go in a little bit. And would you
First
like
thing
me
we're
to?
gonna-
Yeah, here,
we're going
let's
to
get
put this
over.
vegetable stock in here. Actually, I'm just going to pour it in.
Okay. Now this is a kind of a bundlesome ladle. Okay.
Almost 2 to 1. And you're going to bring this up to a boil. Then once you get it up to a boil, you're going to reduce it down just to a light simmer. We'll go ahead and put our Tabasco in there now. And this is all to taste. This isn't very
And so you can be a
hot.
little bit more generous with it because it is not the flaming hot Tabasco
That's
sauce.
right.
And it's thickened up nicely. And here you can use any kind of broth you wish, but you've used a vegetable broth today, right?
Yes, we
because
sure
it is a
did.
vegetarian show.
Right.
Lovely.
And
So
it's
where
nice
does it
and
go
thick,
from
and
here?
the last thing we have to do is add the cheese to it.
And you have a pepper jack, it looks like.
Pepper jack cheese, Sonoma jack cheese. If you don't want it spicy with the cheese like that, you could certainly use Even like a smoked cheese would be great, like a smoked Gouda.
A smoked Gouda would be
Edam
nice, yeah.
would be great. And we're simply just going to stir this until the cheese is completely melted, and then we'll be ready to
Lovely.
serve it.
Ooh, the cheese is all melted down. I can see the tiny little strings in there. And I'll bring our garnish over, these fried plantains.
Fried plantains.
Which I've been munching on off camera. Oh, this looks good. This is down home.
This is down home good cooking.
Oh, you can smell the chilies. It's so. We're so lucky because we get to have lunch after this. And so, what do we do with these?
And we're going to serve this kind of family style, but what we're going to do is we're just going to add these
What a
in
nice touch.
to the side.
Ooh, lovely.
And then that way you can serve some of it. You can dip the plantains into the grits themselves. And
it looks like a southwestern sunburst, doesn't it? Well, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. This
Absolutely
was
lovely.
fun.
And the crew is salivating to get to these dishes. So now we're going to go to our healthful libation of the day. Thank you again.
Thank you.
I'm not even going to pretend that this is a healthful libation. This is just a fun little kind of after dinner drink. It's a bit of a milkshake mixed in with some espresso to take the place of a dessert. So we're going to put some vanilla ice cream in, and ideally use one that has the fewest number of ingredients in it. I like a really good pure vanilla ice cream. Doesn't have a lot of emulsifiers and all of that. In fact, we'll make a good sized dish of this because the crew's waiting for some of this anxiously. And you can use regular vanilla, French vanilla, whatever you prefer. And in the place of the milk that you would normally put inside a milkshake, we're going to be using a really thick coffee or espresso, and you want to go ahead and cool it off a little bit because we don't need this to melt down. We've made, and you want to put in just enough. You can see at the bottom here, coming up to about a quarter of our contents. We can start there, we can always thin it out. And then for a little fun touch, just like chocolate chip ice cream, we're going to use chocolate covered espresso beans in this. And these little bits will break up in here. They've been roasted and they're perfectly edible, as you know. And let's see what happens here for a fun little dessert. Oh, this is going to be good. Ooh. Okay, we have a little espresso smoothie coming up here, and you can see the little flecks of the chocolate and the coffee bean. So you're going to get a double caffeinated high off of this, not only from the coffee in here, but also from ground up espresso beans. We already know we can't miss on this one. This old-fashioned dessert recipe comes right out of the Midwest, and we're making a rice pudding today, but we're putting a couple little twists in it. We're going to do a splash of Cointreau at the end. But we start out with a lot of the common ingredients, if you've ever made rice pudding before, that you would normally find. We start out with a really good quality rice. I like to use a Jasmine or Basmati rice because the rice itself imparts some flavor to the dish. So today we're using a Jasmine rice, and you want to cook the rice up until it's nice and fluffy, and then set it aside, and then we're going to begin adding all of the other ingredients in a saucepan. So first of all, step number one, cook the rice. Step number two, we're going to have to babysit the rice. To that point, it's pretty easy. Let me just tell you what's going in here. First of all, we're going to use some non-fat condensed milk. It cuts out some of the calories. In the old times, you might have used some half and half or even some cream, but instead we're going to go with the non-fat condensed because it gives a richness without having the fat in it. And then we'll use some whole milk. It takes quite a bit of liquid because we're going to be cooking it for 30 to 40 minutes. It has to cook down to get that nice creamy texture. This is not a terribly sweet dish. We only use about a quarter to a third of a cup of sugar in the entire recipe. And then our other flavors are coming from nutmeg. If you can, if you want to take a little bit of extra time and trouble, it's really nice to do your own nutmeg. You can see that it grates up very quickly. And there's no comparing previously ground nutmeg to the real thing. A little bit of nutmeg, then we have some cinnamon, and some vanilla, which we will not be adding until the very end of the recipe, and some fresh lemon zest. You want to use about a tablespoon of fresh lemon zest. You can also go with orange if you don't have any lemons around. You could even put a little lime in, just whatever you prefer. So we're going to put all of this into a pan. Just add your rice and your liquid ingredients. And also, you can use any kind of grape you want, not grape, but raisin you want. I like the red flame. They have wonderful flavor to them. So we'll add our liquid ingredients, some milk, non-fat condensed milk, a little bit of sugar, our spices, lemon zest, and the raisins because you want the raisins to plump up during the cooking process. Now, this is like a risotto. You have to stay and babysit this. You know, not all the time, but try to make this while you're doing something else in the kitchen so that you can keep coming back to it every couple of minutes or so and stir it around so we don't have any problems with it sticking to the bottom of the pan. So we'll be back in about half an hour. Okay, we're back and we have a nice thick porridge consistency, which is what you want. And let's bring it over here. And we add in the vanilla. Just want to stir that in, final stage here. And then we're going to pour a little bit into a serving goblet. All right, pretty little goblet here. And see the consistency we have here? You don't want it much thicker than that because it's going to thicken up once you put it in the refrigerator because you're going to want to chill it a couple of hours. So there we go. And finally, put a little splash of Cointreau over the top and let it soak in as it refrigerates, and that really does add a lot of flavor to it. And then just before serving it to your guests, if you want, you can put, well, just a little garnish of lemon peel. Twist it around a bit for color. And there we go. Now, while we're going to David Berkeley to tell us what he would serve with today's pasta dish, I'm going to take a little trip over to the next door neighbor's house because I know he loves my pudding.
Regina, honoring the origins of this dish, Different Point of View restaurant, we have a chance or an opportunity to play with the wine selection and make it with a different point of view as well. Now, the aged sherry wine vinegar is quite unique. It has a nuttiness of the sherry, but also has the unique flavors of sort of aged vinegar. And it comes from the sherry district in Spain, which is the best area for production, Jerez de la Frontera. The cheese that's included is called manchego. Manchego is the sheep's milk cheese. It comes from La Mancha. So for the wine, I'm going to suggest a Spanish wine, a wine that comes from the Catalonia area, which is on the coast of Spain. Not one of their cava wines, which are actually sparkling and quite excellent, but rather one of the red Penedès wines. These are wines that are made with Tempranillo, maybe sometimes a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon thrown in. They're really, shall we say, quite engaging, really reasonable, and quite delicious, and certainly a recommendation with different point of view.
Okay, we're headed over to Lowell's house, and I have to warn you, a few months ago, Lowell came over, said he'd seen the show, didn't think much of it, but he does like my pudding. Hey, Lowell. Got some pudding for you again. Remember last time when I was creating the recipe? Still good?
It's as good as before.
I knew Lowell liked my pudding. I already told everybody on this show that you liked my pudding, so I'm glad you're not contradicting me, Lowell. Well, while Lowell finishes up, we'll say until, this is yours, this is all yours, you keep it, okay? Until next time, Santé.
That's better than delicious. What's next?
To find out more about Regina's Vegetarian Table, visit our PBS online website at pbs.org.